So give us a sense what can happen from here, because anyone who's studied the Second World War and understands the atrocities, genocide there, of course, occurring in much of these areas we're talking about and beyond. The world watched all of that happen, and I know things were uncovered at the end of the war. There was prosecutions and justice for so many that were murdered. But there's a sense that we're watching this play out again in Europe, and people feel very impotent. I know Australians feel very impotent.
That's right. I mean, a lot of prosecutions for war crimes tend to happen after the conflict ends, because it's just often difficult to conduct prosecutions when the hot battles are going on around you. At the same time, I think we've seen already a lot of international effort to try to collect the evidence of war crimes in Ukraine at the moment. Ukraine itself has been very busy gathering evidence through its prosecutor's office. Many European countries have opened criminal investigations in their own national police and prosecution services. The International Criminal Court has already sent teams to Ukraine to gather evidence on the ground, and the UN Human Rights Council is also conducting an investigation. So preserving that evidence now is really important. If you capture Russian soldiers on the battlefield, as Ukraine has already been doing, if they've been involved in war crimes, then they can be prosecuted right now. Obviously, it's much more difficult to get your hands on more senior military commanders back in Russia, or the civilian leadership back in Russia, including up to President Putin.
That's a very good summary for us, Professor Saul. In international law, is there anything, though, we can do now to save more lives being lost?
I think we can absolutely strengthen efforts towards accountability. So firstly, of course, raising the heat on Russia by imposing more and harsher sanctions. Some of those sanctions will hurt us in the West. I mean, of course, if we impose bans on commodity exports from Russia, oil, gas, minerals, obviously that can ricochet and harm European and other Western economies. Already we've seen, the fuel prices go through the roof. But that kind of crippling of the Russian economy is really what's needed to deter Putin some more. In terms of war crimes investigations, absolutely, Australia can do more there. We can resource the investigations being undertaken already by Ukraine and by the International Criminal Court. We can also send our own people. Australian Federal Police investigators went to Ukraine before, for example, when MH17 was downed. We could send legal experts now to do that. And I think it is, in fact, a bit of a scandal that Australia does not have a permanent war crimes unit within the Australian Federal Police. There are lots of conflicts around the world where war crimes are committed. Some of those people might end up in Australia, but we haven't put the resources behind having a dedicated team in the whole country to pursue those people when evidence comes to light that they may be here or connected with Australia.
That is a very good point, Professor Saul. I will bring a few people in Canberra tomorrow and see if anyone's interested in taking on. I think that's a very, very sound point. Thank you for your time.